Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/cheating stories, where OP's wife started hanging out with her hoe friend. Let's begin. Was my wife cheating? Posted by Reddit user Summer in Ohio.
The summer of 2006, my wife's then best friend and the girl's boyfriend were living with us, crashing in a spare room. They were both drinkers, smoked pot, and took pills, Vicodin and Oxy. But they didn't at our house, maybe the pills, but they never caused any trouble and mostly stayed in their room. My wife's friend was a heavy drinker. I'd seen her many times at the bar drink until she was kissing girls and leaving with a guy before she had her boyfriend. But to make it clear, she would turn into a real slut when she was drunk. Alright, so every Friday night my wife would go out with her friend and the boyfriend to our hometown bar, or quite possibly a local friend's place to hang out and drink and I'm sure smoke weed. My wife didn't smoke weed, but she still would have tagged along. I didn't go out with them. I stayed home with our son. I really didn't mind because I had my friends I hung out with other days, so Fridays my wife went out with her friend. When my wife would get drunk with me at the same bar, she'd go from quiet to talkative to bold. More than a few times she'd suck my dick while I drove home. Here's the part that I realize now I was naive about. Every time they came home from Friday night from the bar, my wife would stumble drunk and extremely emotional. She'd be angry at me, although I now realize she was acting angry at herself and lashing out at me. She'd then lock herself in our room and listen to the same My Chemical Romance song very loud and on repeat all night. She'd never tell me why she was so angry, but in the morning she'd be fine. I wouldn't bother to question her when she was drunk, and I don't know why, but the next day I didn't care to either. This all happened every Friday night for 2 months. At the time, I honestly didn't think about it much, but over the years I have. I have my own thoughts and conclusions on why my wife would always be so angry when she got home. What are your thoughts on why she would always go home so angry? Please share any and all thoughts you have.
OP, it sounds like your wife is the exact same type of hoe her friend is. This happened almost 2 decades ago. Don't tell me you are still with this woman.
Why are you still here?
If you are, I feel no pity for you whatsoever, you damn donut. Get your kid DNA tested. And now I want you to listen to this comment by Reddit user Same Republic.
A common reaction when cheating is to vent their guilt on whoever they're cheating on. Men, but more often women, when in longer-term affairs, go cold and withhold affection and intimacy throughout the period of the affair. It's like they don't want to be disloyal to their affair partner. Your wife was showing a sign of that, but it was short-lived because the suspicion is that it was a series of one-night stand, not an affair as such. It's difficult to say with any certainty, but I would guess that on the balance of probability, she was at it.
I broke up with my boyfriend on his birthday for horrible actions he did when he was a teenager. Posted by Reddit user Catherine the Tiger.
I don't know whether this counts as a ProRevenge, but here is my story, which happened some years ago. I, 26 at the time, had just started dating Thomas and things seemed promising. Very sweet man, educated and quite smart, good looks. After 7 weeks of dating, he invited me and 2 of his childhood friends, let's call them Alex and Bart, for a long 29th birthday celebration weekend at his father's country house in a small French town. His father was going to be around as well, and I was very excited to meet everyone. Day 1, Friday, is fun. I am happy to get along well with Thomas' father, a smart and caring man. Day 2, Saturday, after a very nice day, we enjoy a party in the garden with the neighbors, including some friends of Thomas. After a few hours and lots of drinks, a group of people gather around a small campfire and start sharing childhood memories. This is where things go wrong. At first, of course, innocent and dumb stories as you would expect, but then Thomas and his friends started sharing really sick stuff. In particular, they told a story about how, when they were 14 or 15 years old, they found it very amusing to bully for almost 6 months Arthur, a boy from their school who was very isolated and shy. Making jokes, calling names, you name it. As if this was not enough, they created a fake girl profile on MSN Messenger, a computer platform to exchange live messages that we used in years 2000s, and spent fucking months exchanging messages with him under the false girl identity, flirting and developing a false relationship with the poor boy. Some people were in the confidence at school, and it became a big and cruel joke behind Arthur's back. They used pictures of Bart's real cousin, and the boy truly thought he had some kind of online girlfriend to whom he even sent confession and love messages. At some point, they got bored and scheduled a false rendezvous in real life, asking the boy to take a bus for 2 or 3 hours, wearing a t-shirt Elmer the Elephant, based on a private joke. Obviously there was no one waiting for him, and they did not know how long he waited over there by himself. If Arthur had not already understood what was going on, he found out the next day at school after Thomas and Bart told the story to everyone, and even shared the love messages that Arthur had been writing. The poor boy stopped coming to class and apparently changed school, and it is easy to imagine that this must have been extremely traumatizing to him. Do you think that Thomas, Alex, and Bart had any bit of shame about it? Not a bit of remorse, in particular on Thomas and Bart's side. They kept making jokes about it and even seemed to regret that they were not good enough at being able to convince the boy to send nudes or sexy pics. I don't even want to imagine what would have happened if he had done so. To say that I felt uncomfortable would be a gross understatement. I was absolutely horrified and started to despise Thomas more than anything. I was not the only one shocked. Thomas' father, who heard the end of the story, had the most disappointed look in the eyes. His stupid son was so drunk that he did not even notice it. I escaped the party immediately after that and got back to the house. I could not sleep at all this night, and I kept thinking about the evening and how Thomas was still finding this funny. I heard him coming to bed around 4 a.m., but I pretended I was asleep. Day 3, Sunday, was the actual birthday, and the initial plan was that I would take Thomas on a one-on-one fancy surprise date for lunch nearby, and then we would meet the group for a late afternoon party. But instead, I woke up very early on Sunday morning, took all my stuff in silence, and went alone to the train station where I took a direct train heading back to Paris. I decided to send a text to Thomas wishing him happy birthday and telling him to meet me at a certain location 1 hour from the house for a surprise, and that I needed to go a little bit in advance to make sure that everything would be perfect. I had picked the location randomly, using Google Maps, to gain time. Thomas read the text around 10 a.m. when he woke up. He responded with excitement that he would follow religiously the instructions. When he arrived there at 12:30, I told him to wait further as there was little delay on something. Then I asked him to meet me at a restaurant which was a 30-minute drive from the initial location. When he arrived at 1:15, I texted him that I was on my way, would arrive in 20 minutes, and that he will understand when he sees me why I made him wait. I also asked him to order some food and the most expensive bottle on the menu. Around 1:30 he started calling me several times and sent a lot of worried texts, and after 45 minutes, I responded in French. So, how does it feel to have people play with your feelings? Then I stopped responding. I let him call and text the entire afternoon, but never responded. At some point an unknown number called me. It was his friend Alex asking what was going on and that Thomas' birthday was completely ruined because of what I did. I just responded, "This is an extremely small payback for what you did to Arthur. Tell Thomas to stop calling me," and hung up. I blocked them. I still felt bad the entire evening as I had started to grow attached to Thomas back then. The following days, a common friend called me to say that my reaction was completely absurd and unfair, that it was not my role to punish someone for actions they did as a teenager, that they were adult ways of saying things, and that I had been completely crazy. Only a few people supported what I did. Everyone else seemed to think that I was a bitch. Thomas tried to fix things and win me back for a few months afterwards. I never responded to any of his messages. I don't regret it. I simply hope that Arthur, who should be 35 or 36 years old now, is well. Edits. I really did not expect so many reactions and comments. As expected, I see that not everyone approves what I did, but I am surprised to receive so many kind messages. Thank you. About Thomas' father, he was actually one of the few people understanding my actions. He called me shortly after the incident to discuss an unrelated topic. I was to give him a list of recommendations about something, and was already aware of everything. He did not badmouth his son, but I could really feel that he was disappointed. He simply told me that he had not found sleep the night of Saturday Sunday because of what he had heard during the party. He told me he appreciated meeting me and expressed regret that I was not with his son anymore, but also said that he understood my reasons. He did not try to convince me to get back with Thomas. This man was truly a gentleman. I don't know what became of Arthur. I don't even know his last name. I think that even if I had known his name, I would not have reached out to him by fear of making him remember things that he probably wants to forget. I hope he is a confident man and that he still likes Elmer the Elephant.
And now let's check out the top comments for this post.
Criticizing OP because of her reaction to what he did as a teen is pretty dumb, because that's not her issue. It's the fact that he currently thinks it was a hilarious prank while being an adult. No, emotional growth is a major red flag for sure. Cringing at your past self for doing dumb shit is a good thing. Shows that you learn from it. Reminiscing fondly over bullying the shit out of someone you went to school with is psychotic, and I hope OP's ex can grow from that to be a better person and realize why it's fucked up. Well, the guys that like this are the ones who peaked in high school. Everything since has been a downhill slide into oblivion, thus clinging to past actions, even bad ones. It doesn't sound like they were sorry from how they were boasting about it. Good on OP for giving them a taste of their own medicine.
Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.